Welcome to the show. We're going to be talking about the hostages in Israel.
Christians continue to be slaughtered in Nigeria, and the government is notably silent.
We'll be talking about Antifa and the NLG and the green helmet people.
And naked people in Portland.
God, I love naked people in Portland.
So, in a huge win for the Trump administration, the living hostages have been released in Israel, much to everyone's joy and adulation, except for the people that really want this evil to continue. In other news related to that, Mr. FAFO, a known Palestinian propagandist who is famous for a video in which he is saying God is great over and over in Arabic while rockets rain into Israel on October 7th. This time, the news of his death is not greatly exaggerated. He is actually dead. And the pro-Palestinian types are saying it was Israel that did it. Other reports indicate that it is factions within Gaza that are currently fighting Hamas that actually killed him. Either way, this is a huge win for the Trump administration. And, of course, the left cannot give Trump any credit. We'll take a look at this tweet by Senator Elizabeth Warren, Pocahontas. For 2 excruciating years, I have called for the return of the hostages brutally kidnapped on October 7th and held in Gaza. Today is a good day. Surviving Israeli hostages are finally home and reuniting with loved ones. I'm thinking of them and their families on this joyful day and praying for their full recovery. I'm also grieving for all those who can't come home today. Today must be an important step towards a lasting peace in the region, peace for both Israelis and Palestinians. We must end the war in Gaza, search humanitarian aid, and negotiate a two-state solution now. Noticeably absent is any plaudits for President Trump. I think he is pretty much responsible for this, although we want to see an end to the war in Gaza, holistically, but I don't think this is a great, tactical situation for Israel because they don't have complete and total victory. And on top of that, they're getting 20 live hostages, 28 dead bodies that Hamas has to find because the civilians in Gaza are complicit. And they're releasing nearly 2,000 Palestinian, at bare minimum, militants. And for those of you that aren't aware, Yahya Sinwar, the architect, one of the main architects and perpetrators of October 7th, was released back into Gaza from one of these hostage exchange plans that was done in the past. And Israel is trading 10-1, something like that, 10-1. I don't think this is a military win for them.
Yeah, it definitely doesn't seem like a military win, but at the same time, it will get a lot of heat off of their back for doing some cooperation. And again, it shows that Israel gives time and time again.
Gives trying to give peace a chance?
Yeah, time and time again, they do it. I mean, a lot of people keep forgetting how many times Israel. Imagine if Israel just launched rockets into Gaza just because when there's no conflict actually going on, like what was going on before this war even started.
Well, they've been doing that every day for years.
That's what I'm saying is time and time again, Israel has to always be on the moral high ground. And yes, atrocities happen in war. That's just what happens, and especially when you're hiding people in hospitals and all this other stuff. I mean, and mistakes happen in war as well. But I think this will help them save that much more face and look at the bigger things that are going on in the Middle East as well, with other countries supporting this in the Middle East and trying to actually get peace going on in the region.
Yeah, I think it's a good move from a political standpoint, but militarily, I would say no. Giving up 2,000 hostages for 20 and then 28 dead bodies.
Oh, it's definitely a one-sided deal. It's definitely a one-sided deal. I mean, again, it comes down to, they're put in between a rock and a hard place, and the fact that this will bring more positiveness from other Middle Eastern countries. And, for example, look what's going on in Syria with Turkey and everything else. I mean, there's a lot that's going on. So if there can be some sort of way for them to manage peace, I think that they're going to do it, even though they're giving up way more than is necessary of them. For example, I mean, these are actual militants. They're not just hostages that were taken. And 2,000, that's a lot of people that were,
And a lot of people that hold grudges too, you know.
Well, of course. I mean, I think like you can look on Memory, you can look on PAL Media Watch online. For those of you that aren't aware, there's tons and tons of videos of what they actually think about Israel, what they actually think about Jews, what they're teaching their kids, and it's quite frightening, to be quite honest. But them releasing 2,000 Palestinians, it's almost allowing Hamas a chance to reconstitute. I know there's other parts of the agreement where, okay, Hamas has to live in exile. They're not allowed to take up arms. They're not involved in the governments of the region.
Oh, like they're going to do that.
Yeah, exactly. Like, how can you guarantee that? Like, I just...
This is like a typical catalyst for decentralization, right? They're going to split off. They're going to go into exile. They're going to go into little tribes, and then they're just going to still exist under a bunch of different leaderships, and they're going to still thrive.
Well, it's like Los Cosa Nostra. Like, how are all these mob guys, like, executing business and these hits or whatever from prison? They're decentralized, like you were saying. Like, we'll see if there's a change here, because it's kind of good news that there's, alternate factions that are arising in Gaza right now that are actually fighting Hamas. There's some videos of Hamas executing people in the street. Actually, that was on X. If you guys aren't on X, that's a great place for news, but you definitely have to sift through it because there's a lot of nonsense along with the truth. But X usually knows before the rest of the world knows. Like, I will say that. All in all, this is a win for the Trump administration. He's really pushing for that Nobel Peace Prize. And, like, interesting note about that, the person that they gave the Nobel Peace Prize to, which was a lady in Venezuela, she dedicated it to President Trump. So the U.S. is winning.
Yes.
Oh, absolutely. And that was amazing of her to do as well.
Maria Corina Machado.
Thank you. I did not remember her name.
Say her name.
Say
Say her
it.
name,
Say
say
it
her
loud. So that's a win on the national front.
You know what's so funny about Maria, though? I was reading through some comments, and I saw that someone posted that there was a LGBTQ plus pastor that posted a video.
No such thing.
That's what, labels. That's what they say they are, right? Anyways, this pastor posted a video praising that Maria won, being that it was a woman of color from Venezuela.
Because that matters.
Yeah, right. So, I mean, not saying that she didn't do great things, right? But, like, she deserves it because she's a woman and she's a person of color. And then Maria went out and made that video dedicating it to Trump and all the peace that he's done. And then that pastor had to make another video retracting it and saying that they made a mistake giving her credit.
Yeah, because it really doesn't matter if she's a woman of color. What matters is the cause, or as Ben Shapiro calls it, the omni cause, the unification of the red and the green alliance, the green being the Muslim extremists and the red obviously being the Marxists and the communists.
Yeah.
What matters is the cause, not actually
Yes.
is what's going on.
And they proved us right in that, right? It's like, oh, no, everything good that she did, we take it back. She's not good anymore.
Yeah, it's the hypocrisy of the left that is on full display.
Well, TDS is going to have to be studied one day. The Trump Arrangement Syndrome, like, it really is going to be studied. Of like, man, you wanted peace in Palestine. He brings it. It's still not good
It's
enough.
not good enough. We don't want peace
we
that
don't
way.
We don't want wars. Oh, he's stopping wars. It's still not good enough.
And I have my criticisms of Trump, and
we all do.
Yeah.
there's times where he is, what he says is a little bit hard to stomach. Like at Charlie Kirk's memorial, the first 4 to 7 minutes of Trump at Charlie Kirk's memorial, great. It was all about Charlie. It was all about that whole awful and tragic situation. The rest of it was a campaign speech. And I wasn't there for that.
Yeah.
I wasn't there for that, Mr.
Yeah.
President. I voted for you 3 times, but I wasn't there for that.
Do you think in like 20 years there's going to be commercials that's like, did you suffer from TDS? You can now get compensation.
We have lawsuits against all mainstream media publications.
Oh,
Yeah,
man.
more compensation if you took the jab, too.
Oh, yeah. Did you take the jab?
Well, so that's the big win over the weekend. And now on to some more domestic matters, in a win for the Trump administration, the Supreme Court allows the Trump administration to remove the temporary protected status of 300,000 Venezuelan migrants, according to the New York Post. Well, at least we have the Supreme Court in our favor that's allowing the administration to do what the administration can do legally under the Constitution. Part of the executive's duties under the Constitution is to secure the borders, and immigration policy is part of that. And we have a bunch of judges in the district court that don't like the way that feels. So they're trying to block him at every turn, but the Supreme Court is overruling them. And I think this is a win for America.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, isn't there also something going on with the Somali refugees too? Like falsified their or lied on their immigration or asylum packets or something like that?
Well, what they did to the Biden administration is they took a lot of legal avenues for immigration status and they expanded them. Mm-hmm. They kind of made them really, really mushy when they're not supposed to be. So you did have, and this is what the left does too. They take a little bit of truth and then they lie about the larger picture. Like the Haitian immigrants, I think it was in Ohio, right?
Yeah.
Ohio, somewhere in the Midwest. And they said, oh, these are legal immigrants. Well, turns out that their immigration status, their asylum claims were pushed through, and it wasn't exactly by the book. The Supreme Court allowed the Trump administration to revoke the temporary protected status of 300,000 Venezuelans. According to the UC, the Citizenship and Immigration website, Somalian immigrants still have a designated temporary protected status through March 17th of 2026. And that kind of begs the question, if Trump is serious about getting these people out and getting them out quickly, why are they allowing these temporary protected statuses to remain?
Yeah, that's a good question that needs to be looked into. I mean, he's doing a ton, to be honest, and his administration's doing a ton, but yeah.
Could be just due process. I don't know.
Well,
civil liberties.
I mean, there's none of that, right? Like, if you're given temporary protected status and it's like under asylum or something to that effect, you have to prove that you are targeted because of some innate characteristic. You're a religious minority, you're ethnic minority, you're a political dissident from a country, and then that's how you get asylum. The problem over the past 15 or 20 years is people have just used asylum and given everybody asylum without proving their case at all. Like, I knew a girl from Cuba, and she was a political dissident. She had to run to, I think it was Panama or something like that, so she could continue to report on, the Castro regime and the communist doings over in Cuba. So when she came to the U.S., she got that temporary protected status, that asylum claim, because it was legitimate. A lot of these people are just getting blanket asylum claims.
Well, there's whole lawyer teams now set up, and people in political power that are helping people fudge the numbers, if that makes sense.
Well, I'm sure that's possible, and I'm not so cold-hearted to say that. Well, if you're a political dissident from China and you're against the CCP, like, you might be the kind of person that I want over here. You hate communism.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying that legitimate claims aren't there, but I'm saying there's people that are actually doing it.
I think that's why there's a waiting period, because there might be someone that is legitimately here on asylum, and for whatever reason, maybe they're being questioned about it. So the due process, probably going over all the facts, they might get to state their case, and
Yeah, I mean, they get a chance to state their case, but
it would help those who are falsely accused of abusing the system. Yeah. Even if it affects one person, that sucks. That they should be here. So there's...
What's that say right there? This week, federal officers made an astounding announcement. Nearly half of all immigrants in greater Minneapolis were found to have committed some form of immigration fraud.
It's on the New York Post.
Oh, wow. Okay, so that's
fraud uncovered.
Bad news for Ilhan Omar.
Yeah, uncovered in a September sweep came in all kinds. Sham marriages, fake death certificates, and other bizarre schemes, as U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services Director Joseph
Edley
put in.
Yeah. And then they have a picture of Ilhan Omar.
Oh, of course. Well, given that news, Somalia might be next on the chopping block for this temporary protected status, which, by the way, for everyone out there, temporary protected status means temporary. That doesn't mean you get to stay here indefinitely in America. Just because you land in America does not mean that you get to stay. And there's so many bizarre things out there about immigration. Like, people on the left are going to say that, they're all for open borders and bringing these people in and all this other kind of crap, even though they may not 100% cop to that position. I think it's a problem because I read an article not too long ago, and it was so much cope about this immigration problem. The article was basically like illegal immigrants are propping up the housing market by driving up home prices. Mm-hmm. How is that a good thing for a 20-something American, a 30-something American that wants to buy a house? You can only qualify for $300,000, but the median home price in your area is $450,000, like in Las Vegas.
And it's not even good for even older generations or people who want to sell their home and downsize, and they can't sell their home. They're stuck in whatever house they're in, and they can't downsize and move somewhere else because their money is stuck in a market that's just really inflated.
Yeah, but the boomers are the ones that made these policies, like this open.
Oh yeah, and they screwed us hard. I mean, you think of the '90s, houses were like $100,000, $50,000. Now it's ridiculous. Like,
well, it just depends on where you are. I mean,
Yeah.
a home in California in like the early '90s, like in Orange County, was like $300,000.
well, see where I was from, up in we call it the state of Jefferson, Northern California. Homes were not nearly that expensive.
Well, no, not where I'm from in rural Mississippi. You get a 3-bedroom house for under $100,000.
Yeah,
I was just poking around at houses in Vegas, and I saw one that was $850, and in 2021 it was $250.
Holy smoking Batman.
The
Yeah.
same exact house. Like, I don't know what kind of renovations happened inside of it to jump it up that much.
well, it's the real estate agents taking advantage of the situation too, where they have these influx of people willing to pay $100,000 to $200,000 over asking price to get into a home.
That right there.
That's what did it. Is these people came? Oh well, I'll buy it right now, and I'll pay $200,000 over the asking price. It just destroyed the market.
Well, the housing crisis in the United States is a result of several things. It's not all like stuck on immigrants, but if you take the numbers and say, oh, we get rid of all the illegal immigrants, say in Nevada, there's estimated like 160,000 immigrants in Nevada, right? So if we take that, divide that by 5, that's 30-something odd housing units, 30,000 something odd housing units that are available for Americans. And I'm not saying that we're not a compassionate country and that we don't want people to come here and, the whole Lady Liberty, give me your tired and poor and all that stuff. Like, I think most Americans are okay with that, but within measure. Like, we've gone through several periods in our history where we completely shut off immigration. Like, we did that in the early 1900s.
It's growing pains.
Well, the biggest situation too is the not assimilating and having more love for the country you came from versus the country you're in right now. That's my biggest issue, is when I see people loving the country where they came from more than they're loving the United States. Like, taking this Somalia, for example, like 20-something% of their GDP comes from money sent from America back to Somalia.
Yeah, I think Trump needs to revisit that tax on remittances that really threw the Mexicans in for the Mexicans off.
That's what's the deal, is when people are more proud of where they came from versus where they are. Like, that'd be like if I moved to a different country where it's like, yeah, like, I don't like it here. I love America more, but I'm going to stay here and take advantage of all the situations that you've made here.
And that is happening. There are a lot of immigrants that are genuinely glad to be here. They're not the ones that are getting platforms because, rage sells, hate sells.
They're the ones that are all for coming here legally.
Well, it's like, how many times did you hear the protesters being like, oh, like, this used to be Mexico, and it's like, well, it's not. Like, we fought a whole war, we won, and then we actually were so nice, we gave you a bunch of land back and then paid for the land. So we technically conquered it and then bought it.
But America's evil, Frankie.
I know. We're the only country that conquers things and gives land back and pays for the land that we take.
I'm Native American, and it is what it is. I'm not like Pocahontas, like Elizabeth Warren.
Yeah.
I actually know where my tribe is.
Yeah, she has no idea. I can't believe she's actually still in Congress, or many of those people are still in Congress. But you know what? Americans vote for these people, so we get it good and hard. We get exactly what we want. And if we keep voting for these people, then that's what we're going to continue to get. And immigration is going to continue to be a hot button issue during Trump's term here and whoever comes next. I don't think the American people want this mass influx of rapid immigration. Like, that's like an 80-20 issue. So the Democrats, if they want to win something, are going to have to move to the right on this issue if they hope to. I just don't know if the radical base of the party is going to allow them to.
They can't, because a big percentage of their voting base is that section. Because as soon as they neglect one, like, the far left is like a religious organization because they're so accepting and so all this, but as soon as you disagree with them on one of their tenets and principles, like, you're a heretic. They legitimately treat their own like heretics who step out of line on one single issue.
Yeah, you're no longer black. You're no longer.
Oh, we've seen all
You're
that.
no longer
Yeah.
pro-female. You know, if I say anything against, modern feminization stuff.
Yeah, if you
know.
if you go against the orthodoxy, you are anathema and you are cast into the pit of burning liberal hell.
And that's the
where they
biggest
want us.
problem. Yeah.
They want us burning.
Well, we saw that with Charlie Kirk. Like, that was when he was killed, when he was assassinated. Like, that was obviously for people on the right or for Christians in particular. That was a huge turning point, right? That was a huge deal. But even I didn't expect the amount of hatred that came after that towards that man.
Oh yeah, I mean, you see the spiritual warfare going on with those people, and we have to pray for them and hopefully that they can get well, because they sit there and say, "Oh, we just want to be able to talk." Well, you shot the person that was willing to talk.
Yeah.
Like, you legitimately shot the person that would just go to campus and have conversations. It doesn't matter if you agreed or disagreed with them.
Yeah, speaking of Antifa and the green helmet people. So they're part of an organization called the National Lawyers Guild. And they, from their website that I could read, because it looks like they've altered their website recently due to, like, backlash and stuff from everything going on with Antifa.
But Antifa doesn't exist.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, no way.
Yeah. 'Cause have you seen that online? It's crazy. There's like people saying, "Oh, my father was Antifa. He joined in 1967 and fought the Vietnamese." Like,
What?
supposedly, all veterans are anti-fascists as well. It's another thing. It's another example of the left hijacking terms, telling a little bit of truth in the broader lie.
Just to try to make it
It's almost like
seem
liberals
legit.
not being liberal.
Hey.
that.
So I don't know at the time of all of you watching this if it's going to be the same. But you know how on Google, when Google crawls websites, it caches the information. And it will, if you search, like I search leader of the NLG. And it brought up the AI overview, which it's been doing. And it talks about who the leadership is, right? And the leadership is President Rhea Thompson Washington. And then there's a vice president. I cannot pronounce that. I'm not going to even attempt it.
She's the first non-binary black Femi?
Femme. It's
Femme?
Femi.
Fem.
Femi? Femi?
I think they call it
An
fem.
Afro-Latin president of the organization.
If you go on there and you type, leader of the NLG, it shows the AI overview, and you scroll down, and the first link that you see is board and staff. Now, I went to their website, and I scrolled all the way to the bottom, and I clicked board and staff, and it came up with oops, this page doesn't exist.
Imagine that.
So they obviously are trying to hide who the board and staff are, right? Everything else on the website works, except for who's running this thing, okay? And it's like they're not really hiding because it's cached on Google. So, like, the AI overview clearly states the information that was once on that website. So, even from Google, if you click that board and staff, it takes you to, oops, this page does not exist. So, they're obviously trying to hide. So, what the NLG does is they have lawyers. They call themselves a group of, like, students and law enthusiasts and activists and attorneys that come together for all sorts of social justice type stuff. There's lawyers who specialize in protest, like if you've been charged with a crime at a protest, and they have been directly linked with Antifa. So they go to these riots and they wear green helmets So they wear these green helmets and they stand around and they're called observers. They're legal observers. And they just stand there and watch everything that's going on and they act as a witness.
Oh, that happened when they had the ICE protests in Vegas. Like, I was out there watching, and there was a bunch of people with cameras, and they said, "Oh, we're legal observers." And then, like, as soon as the people started throwing bottles and rocks at the cops, which I saw that happen down there on the boulevard in Clark, I think. Moments later or minutes later, there was a video dropped from one of the local news stations, and they're like, "Oh, we're getting reports that the police are using violence against the protesters." I mean, all that a legal observer is a misnomer. And to everyone out there that wants to kind of like get involved, like us, if you do wind up going to these protests, be an opposition legal observer. I mean, when I was there at that protest, most of the people throughout most of it were completely placid. They were just exercising their constitutional rights. And even if I disagree with your premise, 100% okay with that. But when it got later, towards the 8:30, 9 o'clock mark, that's when the people started getting rowdy. And then all the people that were there during the day are saying, "Oh, it's the police. They're suppressing our First Amendment rights." No, the game changed.
Yeah.
The game changed when we had to deploy SWAT and arrest 94 people.
It's constantly assessed for what level of protest is this, right? Is it peaceful? And then even if you are a legal observer, or if you don't really have an opinion on either side, you're there, you're watching, right? You could live down the street. Once that dispersal notice comes out for unlawful assembly, you have to leave. It doesn't matter if you're there for the protest in opposition or whatever. You have to leave. You will get tear gas. You will get pepper sprayed. You'll get pepper balls. It's a dispersal order for everybody, and that's even journalists as well. They have to get out of the way.
Yeah, and these people, they want to be, part of the progressive cause, because the thing about progressivism is that must always be a cause. There must always be someone oppressed, and they must always be fighting against the system. So if they win on one cause, they're going to find another cause, and they don't care how far down the rabbit hole they go. But yeah, so there's, I mean, that's not much of a surprise. There's legal groups that are in support of Antifa and the madness that they do.
But now they're kind of in hiding, just like that professor from Rutgers University.
Oh, yeah, the guy who wrote the Antifa handbook.
Yeah, the Antifa handbook.
The whole, make sure you're all dressed the same, have masks, all this, because then legally it's hard for them to be like, well, are you sure this was the person who did it? Because everybody else was dressed like this. How do you know this was the actual person who threw the rock?
And that's how they got away with the 2020 riots. That's how, almost nobody got charged from that. Even the guy that firebombed the federal courthouse up in, I think it was Portland, maybe Seattle. I'm not
probably
sure.
One of those two. Good, safe guess.
I mean, I know in Vegas, a lot of the people that got arrested got away with it because of that tactic. Yeah. Like, it is a tactic, and it's an effective tactic. Like, you got to grab these people, and that's why body cameras are great. And now the people that are anti-police who are pushing for body cameras, now they don't like the body cameras because their people are getting caught up.
Yeah, so if you see a video of someone in a green helmet and they're getting roughhoused, you can't say, "Oh, they're just an illegal observer. They're just a legal observer. They're peaceful." It's probably because a dispersal notice went out, or they got caught up being where they weren't supposed to be.
Yeah, like that Metro Sergeant, that viral video where they were walking in the riot gear to the skirmish line, and these two kids, I'm assuming kids, said some inflammatory things, we'll say, and they both got arrested.
How old were they?
I don't know the details of that, but I'm pretty sure that they were like early 20s, late teens.
I don't think that's a kid anymore. It's an adult that's acting like a kid.
Well, okay, fair enough. I sit corrected.
Just throwing that out there, like.
Well, sure, but they both got caught up and arrested for I'm pretty sure it was disorderly conduct, and then the sergeant got a bunch of death threats and that whole 9 yards, because that's what they do. But yeah, Antifa is still wiling out in their stronghold of Portland and Seattle up there.
MSNBC doesn't think that they're actually an organization.
Oh, yeah.
Here, watch this. Let's see. Let me turn this volume up.
A petition for his removal. Now, to be clear, Bray says he is not a part of Antifa, and that his association is solely as an academic who's studied it. And Antifa is not, by the way, an actual organization with founders or leadership. It's a
Only has
loose,
uniforms and
decentralized
banners,
term for a movement,
chapters.
but is increasingly being used by the right as a label for a wide range of left-leaning causes, nonprofits, and protesters.
Okay. So she said in there that it's not an organization and it's just like a decentralized, like basically an ideology, right? So, I mean, when I think about terrorist organizations, foreign terrorist organizations, ISIS, Al Qaeda, they're like decentralized. You know, every time we do some sort of big thing to break them up, it's like that Hydra effect, right? You cut the head off, another head grows. So, I mean, just for them to say it's not an organization, like you were talking about, it's like you're saying, oh, they got uniforms. Oh, they know where to meet at a certain time. They know what to say.
Somebody's organizing it.
I mean,
Just throwing that
to
out
organize a birthday party takes effort, let alone a protest.
Well, now they even have like these little trainings that they do too.
Well, didn't they? What was going on in Portland like back in 2020, the Summer of Love? Didn't they have riots and protests for like 180 straight days in Portland? I think it was some ridiculous.
It was something
number.
like that.
Oh,
Yeah.
It was some ridiculous number, but they're not.
It wasn't very loving.
No, but this is the gaslighting again that the left does, and they're doing the same thing with the Christians that are being murdered in Nigeria. So,
Yeah.
like, to transition to that, there's this Twitter handle you might want to follow if you're interested. It's called You Gonna Mario. Like, instead of you being spelled out, it's just a U. And it's this guy that he is a teacher and a practicing Catholic in the northern part of Nigeria, which is where, you have Boko Haram, you have the Fulani herdsmen, and you have other Islamic militant groups that are attacking Christians. And he posts some pretty good content. I mean, it seems like, and I've interacted a little bit with him online. He seems legit, but you never know in the Twitterverse. And he just keeps posting all these videos of priests getting killed and people getting kidnapped and the horror that is going on in Nigeria. And it's reached Congress. Ted Cruz, I think he put forward some kind of bill or resolution to designate Nigeria as a country of particular concern. I don't know what is behind that, like what force the United States government can bring to bear against the Nigerian government or force them to change. But I guess it's a step in the right direction. I mean, awareness is the first step of everything and getting.
Well, it'll hurt their economy. I mean, you keep hearing about these things. People aren't going to want to travel there.
Well, if you're a Christian, you definitely don't want to travel to the northern part of Nigeria.
Unless the Pope calls for something. That'd be kind of cool.
Well, did you see where what was it? It's not Black Rock.
Eric
Blackwater.
Prince.
Yeah, Blackwater.
Eric Prince. No, not Blackwater no longer exists, but Eric Prince is the founder of Blackwater. He was saying, like, hey, Pope, why don't you fund
A crusade.
Yeah.
Can you imagine? Let's
Just
just go
throwing that
back
there.
to swords and.
No, I mean, it'd be with guns.
I mean, but
It wouldn't be like with sword. It'd be
Could
with
we
guns.
at least have a cool outfit?
I mean,
I mean, I'm all for that.
we're all for cool outfits on squirrels and suits.
Yeah.
I don't think Rome would align themselves to that, because then if something does happen, something negative, there is some kind of atrocity, then Rome is like directly linked to that. But
Well, actually, it's the Vatican.
yeah, that's what I mean when I
Yeah.
say Rome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's its own little. It's its own little
I
country.
felt a moment between you two.
Well, when I say Rome, like we're both like studiers of the Roman Empire and like Stoicism and all those kinds of things. If you're not following Imperator on X, you should. But I don't think Rome is going to want to align themselves with that. Christianity, by its nature, is a nonviolent religion, but don't these people have a right to defend themselves in Nigeria?
Well, I mean, that's the thing is why the Crusades were justified, because they were actually Christian lands, and it was up to the Christian government to protect Christian people.
So yeah, I don't think Pope Leo is going to call for a crusade from the politics of it. And I said when he was selected as Pope that we're going to wait a year and see what he actually does. So far, not seeing a bunch of great things from him, but that's another matter entirely. But at what point are Christians in Nigeria allowed to defend themselves because the government's not helping them?
Well, that's where I think it'd actually help them out politically.
How so?
Because, I mean, Christians, we've been walked on time and time again. I mean, we've been walked on for the last, 100 years.
That's true.
I mean, how many, Christian expansions do you see? None. But how much do you see Islam encroaching on Christian lands? You know what
yeah.
I'm saying? It's becoming like a thing because they're taking advantage of our immigration laws and our bleeding hearts and all this other stuff, and they're trying to make us feel bad about our culture and everything else. And it's like, if our culture's so bad, why are you guys the ones that are immigrating here and not the opposite way?
Yeah, I mean, and that's a multifaceted argument. Like in 1905, the French instituted the laïcité policy, which basically removed the church from any kind of prominence. Mm-hmm. And then in the late 1900s, when Winston Churchill was a burgeoning politician, England up to that point had required a declaration of faith to serve in public office, and they took that away.
Yeah, I mean, that's Christianity built the West. It was the Catholic Church that invested into science. It was the Catholic Church that invested into education, into housing, into everything else. It was the church that saved Europe. I mean, when the Muslims conquered Spain, they were trying to push up through France. It was the church that put the money together to fund an army to push them back down into Spain.
And then out of Spain.
And then eventually out of Spain. A bunch of dudes that lived in the mountains that were like, YOLO.
You only live once and it might be short, but we're doing this. So, I think
it would help him out politically, honestly. I think if he did it, it would bring a lot of Christians, especially back into the church, and give a lot of these young men who are lost something to look to.
Yeah,
because Christian men aren't supposed to be weak. Yes, we're a religion of peace and everything else, but we're not supposed to be weak.
Saved, not soft.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, but then that kind of conflicts with this whole, I don't know, I hate to say this, but Christianity in a lot of ways has been kind of castrated in the last 150 years. The gates of hell will not prevail against the church, but we've been kind of castrated. And
the argument that you can make to counter this would be, yes, for example, I say the Crusades are justified because they were Christian lands. It was a defensive action to start because the government was Christian, and it was the government's job to protect its people. Is Nigeria a Christian country?
I think it's a majority Christian country.
But is it a Christian country? For example, Poland's a Christian country.
Yeah.
So if there was a Muslim jihad launched and invading in Poland, it has every right to launch a crusade because it is a Christian land. So the counter argument that I would use against myself would be Nigeria is not saying it's a Christian country. Therefore, as Christians, you're supposed to follow the laws of the land regardless of the ruler. So therefore, a crusade's not justified. That would be the Pope's out if he wanted an out of not launching a crusade or justifying why he doesn't launch a crusade with all these Christians being persecuted.
Well, I think Nigeria is also a good example of it's almost a mirror image of what's going on in the Holy Land between Israel and, the Hamas, the Hezbollah, and all that stuff. As much as everyone pines for a two-state solution, you cannot negotiate with people that want you dead. You can't do it. I mean, this is unpopular, but I say this. As long as the Palestinian organization exists in its current form, there can never be a two-state solution because the Jews aren't going back to 1948. Or 1930s, more accurate term. They're going to fight, and there's a lot of anti-Semitism that's rising, and I can't wait to start breaking those down, the USS Liberty issue and all those other kind of things that a lot of anti-Semites are bringing up. But the way things are right now in the Holy Land, there's not going to be a two-state solution.
No.
The Jews won't, and you could rightly say, and this is a criticism of Israel, but the Jews won't allow it. No, they're not going to allow a state of people that want them dead. And if you think they don't, look at the Hamas charter. I know there's people on that side of the argument that say, oh, this is stolen land. No, it's conquered land. Every country throughout history, except for maybe Fiji or Monaco, was formed by violence and conquest. Every country. Every one of them. So why do the Jews... Why does this rule not apply to Jews? That's my definition of anti-Semitism. It's basically rules for Jews, but not for you. I think that's how you can characterize accurately anti-Semitism.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of awakening, though, because what you said, there's when there's you can't have a two-party state when one side wants the other dead. We're seeing that right in here in America.
Well, yeah, we're seeing that here. I mean, we're seeing that all over the world. This is like the communist revolution of the early 20th century, except kind of in reverse, right? And I think that's kind of what we're seeing with Nigeria, because the south of Nigeria is overwhelmingly Christian. The northern part of Nigeria is Muslim, and that's where you have Boko Haram and the Fulani herdsmen and all those people.
So what if the Pope did this?
Okay.
What if he's like, hey, Nigeria, claim yourself to be a Christian country, and I can help you. Now that would be boss. He would be a Leo right there, being like, hey, declare yourself. I can't launch a crusade because you're not claiming to be a Christian country. Say you're a Christian country, then I'm obligated to help you out, because then there's past precedents of why the crusades were launched in the first place.
Well, and I think that's why the left wants the Catholic Church so bad, because at the end of the day, if Pope Leo did do something like that, which he would never do, but if he did do
Don't say never.
But if he
Don't say never.
Okay, I won't say never, Frankie.
There is a chance.
But if
he
did, there would be at a minimum millions of young men that would answer that call.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know how freaking rad that would be? You know how that would like wake up the world, be like, oh, like this is what Christianity's capable of. Maybe we should tone it down a little bit.
I mean, you're not wrong.
Because I mean, if the Pope was like, hey, yeah, and think about it, like if he's like, listen, Nigeria, I want to help you out, but my hands are tied because I have to follow the law, and it says that we have to obey the law of the land. So if you declare yourself a Christian country, I'm obligated. That's a way in right there, and it can also save him face if they don't do it.
Well, the president of Nigeria is a Muslim, so I doubt that that's going to happen.
And maybe that's why it's happening in northern Nigeria.
Well, what's happening over there is just awful, and I think people need to look more into that, and they need to see what's going on over there, because that is kind of awful, and as Christians, we do need to pray for these people.
Now, when is it justified for us to go help out our fellow Christians being persecuted in another land?
I think that's the question I'm kind of getting at. Like, I don't think it would be wrong now, say people went over there, some kind of aid organizations and stuff of that nature, or the humanitarian resistance groups. I think like what's it called, Stronghold Rescue and the Free Burma Rangers.
Oh yeah,
right. Those guys. If a group like that went over there and were protecting these Christian villages in the northern provinces, I think that is a moral option. I think something like that would definitely be a moral option, and they may in fact do it, because the Boko Haram, like to be fair, they attack Muslims too, because their position is, if you don't support us and join our ranks, like you are haram or whatever in their worldview. So they destroy those people as well. But it's an awful situation, and it's kind of like startling that the Nigerian government, either doesn't have the capability or does not have the will to stop this. They have a duty to protect their people. That is part of the social contract, and they're failing to do that. So what is the recourse? What is the recourse? And there's videos circulating all over online, but there's one very touching video where there's this burnt down church. I don't know if it's an Anglican priest or a Catholic priest.
Yeah.
And they're holding mass in this burnt out church. And I don't know, that's pretty moving to me.
It is super powerful, because our faith is strong. They're proving their faith,
Do they want asylum?
Yeah,
well, that's a group that deserves asylum.
Yeah.
Well, I think those people are staying and fighting for their lands and their country, but I wonder how the left in America would take them as asylum seekers.
It's not on their agenda.
Like they did the South Africans.
Oh, yeah, no, but they're not real Africans because they're white.
I know.
Speaking of white people, though, looking at this protest in Portland at the ICE facility, the nude one. I was combing through it not to see all the genitalia.
Whose idea was it? Hey guys, I got an idea. It's going to be a great protest. We're all going to get naked and ride bicycles.
Well, that's one of my points, though. You know who says that stuff? It's people who fantasize about showing off their genitalia to other people. And they don't have an outlet to do that. And this is like the perfect opportunity to do that. And they're not here for a cause. They're here for themselves. This is perverse. This is not having anything to do with immigration rights. I looked through this. I did not see one person of color in this whole video. It's all white people. The thing is like when you're the majority of like the country, right, being Caucasian, like they're finding ways to divide this country. It started with race, right? And now then it started with, feminism. And then now it's white people, right? Now we got to break them apart into smaller groups too. I don't know. I just feel like everyone is fair game as far as division goes.
The playbook is old, and it is being enacted before our eyes, because white people don't generally view themselves ethnically by polling data. So like 15%, I forget who did this poll. It was either Pew Research or Reuters or something like that, where they found that like 15% of white people view themselves like racially or ethnically, like they identify with that. And it's over 50% for Hispanics and for blacks. And I'm not saying you can't be proud of who you are, right? But let's be even across the board, because white people aren't really allowed to have that because of sins of the past. And
everybody has sins of the past, though. That's the thing.
And we're told we don't have culture.
Well, and it's also like, I'm more of a, like, I don't care, like, the color of your skin. I'm, like, just proud to be an American. I think American culture is superior to other cultures, and I think our history is superior to other people's history.
Agreed.
And I think that if we focused on that, like, I do believe we are the successors of the Roman Empire and Republic, and we're more towards the Republic, but we can really switch over really quick, and that's what I fear.
Well, James Madison said that the Constitution was built for a moral and Christian people. And, I identified with the political party for a long time, and now my politics are the church, are the faith. Like that, those are my politics above
good and
anything.
evil, right?
Yeah.
Good and evil.
Those are my politics above anything else. And like with James Madison saying that, and then all but one or two of our founding fathers being Christians, the rest were deists, like Benjamin Franklin, Thomas Jefferson, were the two notable ones. I don't think there was any more that were not Christians. And then all of the state constitutions requiring a declaration of faith to hold public office. Like the liberals and the leftists the humanists, I'm going to say the humanists, who have tried to transcend these moral boundaries that were given to us by Christianity, are benefiting from Christian virtues, same Christian virtues that they're trying to attack. And, you have freedom of religion in this country. When they said there was no state establishment of religion, what they were talking about was there's no Anglican Church of America. There's no Congregationalist Church of America. They're saying you're free to practice Christianity in whichever way you choose. The founders were not talking about Islam and Hinduism. They weren't talking about that. They were talking about Christianity. And I think that's important. Not to say that people can't practice their own religion in America. Obviously, I have no issue with that. But that is our founding. And it's from these principles that other people who practice different faiths are allowed to do so in our country. So I think even if you're not a Christian, or maybe you're a cultural Christian, or you don't believe, or maybe you don't believe in the supernatural elements of it, which I can't wait to get into that stuff on a different show. That's a really great and interesting discussion. You have to at least acknowledge the tenets that we had. And yeah, you can point to this evil and that evil and slavery. Well, it was Britain and the U.S. that ended the transatlantic slave trade. It was Christians who were pushing for the abolition of this. It was Christians in the civil rights era that were pushing for equality for blacks and to get rid of Jim Crow and all these evil racial laws. It was Christians that were doing that. It's Christian morals that make goodness possible, whether you want to acknowledge that or not.
A lot of naked people in Portland.
A lot of naked people in
Portland.
I don't even know why they're there. It's just an opportunity to get naked.
Like, we're for these immigrants that came here illegally, and I'm naked, and I'm proud to support them.
I was thinking about the history books in the future. They're going to be like, in 2025, the liberals fighting for social injustice and immigration, adorned themselves with nothing but the butt. And went to the ICE facility.
Well,
that's the history books,
Well,
with the butt? What is the
nothing but their butt.
Nothing but their butt. Well, also that would be characterized as right-wing protest because it is anti-government.
Yeah.
According to our intellectual superiors, there is pretty much no such thing as left-wing violence.
Yeah, because if it's anti-government, it's automatically right wing.
Oh, see, a lot of people have been changing parties lately.
That's why the stats are so thrown off.
Yeah. Portland's just wild. We could get some of those daily consequence videos.
Oh, so what do we got here?
There was this one of the Antifa guys getting arrested face down in the mud by ICE and DPS.
Did you send that to me? This one?
Oh, that was it. That's what I was talking about. Oh. Eat that bud pie.
What's that lady doing? Is she a legal observer?
Yeah. Interfering, giving him some words of encouragement to resist the occupation.
He's just getting baptized.
Just got baptized by ICE.
Oh, he just gave him a wedgie.
No, he didn't. He was trying to pick him up by his britches.
Yeah, because the guy doesn't want to move. Move on your own or we'll make you.
Intermediate force, wedgie.
Or maybe you could use a wedgie as a distract.
I like how they're yelling, let them go. Like, they're actually going to let them go. Like, that's going to make such a difference.
I mean, the thing that the left is not accounting for right now and doesn't know how to handle is conservatives and the government no longer care that you have videos and you're shouting at them. No longer care.
All of the police have videos. So, look at that chicken just standing there.
Is
Oh,
this,
man.
yeah, that's
I would love to be that guy on the roof with the pepper ball gun. I would go ham. Oh my gosh.
Well, they're hiring.
I have 50,000 sign up bonus. Maybe we're in the wrong
man.
field. Oh.
Let's watch that from the beginning.
And for these protesters, all the ones that are claiming all this brutality and everything, like, this is not the 1960s. Like, you're not getting pummeled in a back alley even if you deserve it. Like, these guys are just handling business. If they say move and they have a legal right to tell you to move and you don't move, they can force you to move. All right? This whole idea that the police can't touch you and should never touch you is just ridiculous.
Well, they've also gotten away with it in Portland so long because the Portland police don't really do much, and that's why we see
can't.
ICE and them doing it.
Well, they can't. I mean, Portland Police is a city police department that is accountable to the mayor and the city council. And if you have a bunch of leftists that are in charge of the city, they're not going to let the police do anything. Like, they're just not. But yeah, this dude, he got a mud pie for consequences.
I'm so glad that this didn't happen during the nude protest.
Oh, that would
He could
that
have
would have been gold.
Imagine,
a legitimate claim for sexual assault.
how would you even, like, pick them up by their britches? You can't.
You can't.
You'd have to skull drive
Maybe
them.
you should write that in the next Antifa handbook. And they can identify them
The
by
benefits
genitalia.
of going naked to a protest. They
Yeah.
can't grab you as easily.
So there's another organization. Everyone talks about Antifa, but there's this other organization called the Socialist Rifle Association.
Oh, I've heard about that.
Yeah.
It's like a gun club.
Well,
Was that the one that was at the college campus? No, that was the trans one, right?
Well, so the Socialist Rifle Association believes in arming the queer LGBTQIA community
Yeah.
and organizing a lethal resistance. They were the guys that did that ICE shooting, that ambush at the ICE facility where they popped off a bunch of fireworks and had guys in the woods that shot at the cops when they came out. So that's an organization that's not really on the airwaves, but they are a problem. And there's probably a chapter in a city near you. So stay alert out there, because I think
I don't know where
bad
it's
things are
going.
coming.
Yeah.
Bad things are coming, especially before the midterms and leading up to the midterms. Watch for it. I
And
hope I'm wrong.
And they're way more organized than people give them credit for.
They're not as, even though they're decentralized, that does not mean they're not organized. Oh my gosh.
Well, they are organized. Who's dropping off bricks at protests?
Yeah,
Who's dropping off PPE at these protests?
they have funding.
They do. And it's all these NGOs that are not supposed to take any kind of political stance for NGO funding and tax exempt status from the government.
Imagine how that worked when they shut down USAID.
Well, we're not seeing 2020 again, because
Yeah.
that was a massive, massive
There
propaganda.
was millions of dollars going to NGOs stopped.
Well, that'll do it for today, folks. Thanks for listening. Smash the like button and share the show with everyone you know.
If you want to see any of the things we talked about, we'll put it in the comments below. So take a look at that.
Thanks for listening. Until next time.
Bye.
Peace.